My name is Bob McMahon. I served in the United States Army. I enlisted in 1966 and came in 1969 when I returned from Vietnam. I was out of the service. My father served in World War II. Well, prior to that, my father went to the Naval Academy. He did not graduate. He then went on to be in the Army Air Corps, and we have no idea how he went from the Naval Academy to the Army Air Corps. Not sure if he went to college, but he became a captain. Among his duties, he flew the hump during World War II, which is China, India, Burma. We understand his plane went down. We have a little bit of his history from a scrapbook my grandmother put together for him while he was away. We do know that he was in China. He was in China when I was born. So part of his service was there. And if the war had gone on past 1945, my father certainly would have been involved in any major invasions that would have taken place. My father never talked about his service, so we don't know that much about it. Although he did advise me when I was put in a position to serve, to enlist or whatever I was going to do. And my father advised me, and he said, "You have a college degree, so you should enlist. You have a finance degree, so you will more than likely become an officer." He figured with a finance degree, I would have a desk job and a finance job. So I enlisted, went to Fort Gordon. That's where I took basic training. Went to also AIT, what they called Advanced Infantry Training. Then went to Fort Knox for Officer Candidate School, which was armor. And learned that I did not like tanks. I think I was somewhat claustrophobic, but I got through it somehow. And then was transferred to Fort Dix, where I became I trained troops. In mid-January 1968, I left for Vietnam. Then a major came up and told me that you are assigned to the 1st Infantry Division. You are a platoon leader. And my first thought was, all right, better than being in the armor in a tank. So I became a platoon leader with Charlie Company, 2nd of the 18th, on Thunder Road. And our job was to go out on patrols, make contact with the enemy, and report back the locations. It wasn't to engage as much as it was to make initial contact, which we did. Also, we had ambush duty. Then I got what I consider to be the job of my life. I became a senior advisor living in 3 separate villages. My job was to help them get everything they needed. It was to train them. It was to go on patrols with them. It was to be the contact with the Americans for them and to come up with ideas on how they can protect themselves. And one of them was VC Island, which was considered very dangerous. And I had some people that I served in the infantry division with that came out to help me at times, and they usually just came once because they didn't want to come back out to the so-called VC Island. 2 exciting things that happened while I was in the villages. One was a helicopter coming in with Ernie Banks and Pete Rickard, 2 baseball players, one that later on went on to pitch for the Phillies. Just out of the blue, and then talking to Ernie Banks and Pete Rickard later, I learned that they only wanted to go to small bases, areas where just a few Americans were, not the big bases. So that was a thrill. And another time in our outpost, which was far from everything, came a lady named Tippi Hedren, who starred in a movie called The Birds, and Joey Bishop, who was a comedian from Philadelphia. They came out on a helicopter to visit us.